The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today, in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to upgrade your entertainment experience? Vizio TVs make streaming easy with convenient access to all your favorite apps. Enjoy top hits from the iHeartRadio app or watch over 300 free live channels of news, sports, and more on Watch Free Plus. And now, take free TV and movies on the go with Watch Free Plus in the Vizio mobile app. Available anytime, anywhere, for everyone. Download the Vizio mobile app now or visit vizio.com/iHeartRadio to learn more.
Friday football feast. Paul Charch with you. PA is off today. Eric Nordquist here as well. And further joined by Alec Lewis from The Athletic. Hey, Alec.
Paul, how are you? Good to see that you're in the seat today. That's awesome.
I am. Where are you at this stage?
I'm down south doing a little bit of family time in Alabama. It's warmer down here. I needed a getaway, refresh my mind. You know how it goes.
So you're not following like every machination of the potential re-signing of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah?
I mean, following every machination would assume that there are tidbits dispersing at all times, which has not been the case. But I'm locked in. Like before you called, I was watching Grant Udinski's press conference as the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars. So it's not like I'm just taking time away and sitting on a beach. The grind continues.
I like it. I like it. Never quite going like full blown athlete on it and just taking your services to St. John's.
No, but I would. I mean, if that opportunity presents itself, to use a coaching cliche, I'd be more than happy to do it.
If I pick you up on the way, will you join me? Just me and you in like a cabana in St. John's. What do you think?
Sounds a little interesting. Nordo, I wonder what his face looks like as he's listening to you offer that up to me. I mean, I'd be interested, but it's the way you presented this publicly is kind of interesting. So, yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of conditions to this offer. I mean, one is that it's just you and me and one bottle of suntan lotion.
Okay. I mean, usually when I'm on with PA, there are moments in time where I'm speaking with him, and because he's not listening to this right now, I feel very comfortable saying it because why not talk behind someone's back? But there are often times where he and I are sitting across from one another, and I feel semi-uncomfortable by something he said. In fact, that might happen every time I am on the air with him. But this is, I mean, if I were power rankings moments at which I felt fairly uncomfortable, this is up there. I give you credit for the job you're doing here, Chuck.
I'm filling in for PA. I got to keep the vibe going.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. I mean, really, Sunday, he would be proud of this.
I think he would.
Yeah, no question.
What is losing Grant Udinski means what for the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, for people who don't know, those listening, I don't know how familiar people are with Grant Udinski, but he was the assistant quarterbacks coach. He'd been with this Vikings staff since Kevin O'Connell got here in 2022. At first, he was kind of in special projects. That was his title, and there had been some familiarity with the staff with him in Carolina, so they brought him in, and he really kind of became like one of Kevin O'Connell's right-hand people. And I know Grant, his title was assistant quarterbacks coach, but I mean, he did a lot. He was a very trusted person for Kevin O'Connell. He's very scheme inclined, very in tune to how to attack defenses. I mean, even Josh McCown, who is the quarterback coach, said throughout last year, I mean, multiple times, like how much he had learned from Grant, who is just 28 years old and who Liam Cohen hired to be the offensive coordinator down in Jacksonville. So I think it's, I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's losing some mat. I mean, but I mean, Grant definitely had a big role on the staff. And so two things. One, I mean, I'm very interested to see what he does with Liam Cohen down in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. That's just, I'm just curious with that. And then B, because I am as in tune to this team as I have to be, like, I'm curious to see what they do with that assistant quarterbacks coach role. Do they hire from the outside? Do they bring someone different in? What does the staff overall look like? Like, those are things that I am intrigued by as this thing gets closer to the combine in Indianapolis.
Hey, Alec, Kellen Moore, I mean, it felt like a game of hot potato trying to figure out who was going to be the head coach of the Saints, but now he is. And I just saw it floated out. It could be absolutely nothing, but Durante Jones, the name, there's the LSU connection down there and all of that. Is there any worry about, Grant Udinski now leaving the nest? Is that part over? Do we have our coaching staff, or are there still potentially some plucking that will take place?
Yeah, Durante is in the mix down in New Orleans for the DC job. It sounds like, talking to people close to down there, it's pretty undecided with what they're going to do. Another name that has been floated is Brandon Staley, who obviously was in San Francisco last year, former head coach of the Chargers, had been in Los Angeles with the Rams with Kevin O'Connell, and I think he will be in the mix as well, but you never know. Sometimes when these names get floated, there's a lot of times at which it's agents pulling strings behind the scenes. So we'll see. I would say that I do think Durante has a shot. He's interviewed around both this year and last year. He did as well. I think he interviewed for the New York Giants defensive coordinator opening last offseason. So we'll see. And if he were to get that job, it would be interesting to see if he were to take a couple other staffers. Like, I know he's close with safeties coach Michael Hutchings. So, I mean, this is in the weeds stuff in terms of nitty gritty staff, but I think until we get to the combine in Indianapolis on whenever that is, February 24th, I won't feel probably 100% on what this staff is going to look like.
Speaking of the coaching staff, I don't think we've talked since Kevin O'Connell won Coach of the Year. What are your thoughts on him taking down that recognition? And I think we mostly, we expected it was going to be close or that he would outright win it. So it's not out of the blue, but still pretty impressive. And I think a pretty strong bellwether for his future here, right?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I thought it was very well deserved. And I know, I mean, the end of the season was absolutely miserable for me, for you guys, for the folks listening. Yeah. And it was just brutal to see how things ended. But if you think holistically, this was a team that was projected from the folks out west to win 6.5 games, 7 games, and they won 14 with a quarterback who had been really discarded or viewed as not even close to being able to produce what he did throughout the season. And I think, I mean, really that award for me, I mean, it's a testament to not only developing and building up Sam Darnold and winning 14 games, but I mean, it's also, you go back to last summer and it was, you guys remember this, there was a lot of negativity in terms of the tragic passing of Kyrie Jackson, obviously, and then Mekhi Blackmon tore his ACL, and I remember early in training camp, Shaq Griffin got hurt, and it's like they don't have any corners. What are they? I mean, it was tough sledding, and Kevin O'Connell was really the trusty voice, kind of producing and implementing the North Star to just continue to push forward, and it was very impressive that they won 14 games. Now, the hope, I think, from my standpoint and from the fan standpoint, should be, okay, you won this award, you received your extension, and now, I mean, it's incumbent upon him to continue to push, and that involves the run game, that involves fortifying the trenches. I mean, all that stuff. If you want to make good on the honors you've achieved, like think about Brian Daboll in 2022. He received Coach of the Year, and look where things have gone since. I mean, winning this award, just like anything in life, you reach a certain stature, or you get to a certain place. It only it kind of makes you have to continue to perform. And so I think it's going to be really interesting. Kevin O'Connell was on Media Row at the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of conversation. But I'm looking forward to when I'm sitting with him at the Combine, talking about how they want to move this thing forward from where they've been, because I do think there are certain aspects of what they've done that have to improve, that have to get better, both personnel-wise, schematically, that hopefully you hear from the people in charge.
Yeah, and I like the way you put it that way, Alec, because as I was thinking, you were laying out things at Kevin O'Connell's feet. He gets the award, he gets the extension. All of those things are super positive. 14-win season. But doesn't it also feel, and you mentioned the sad death of Kyrie Jackson and injuries, that this competitive rebuild terminology of how things have played out, like into 2025, this team does not feel any more stable. It doesn't feel any more cemented because of all those personnel decisions that are looming.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team has 24 free agents, and some of those, players were just absolutely key contributors when you're talking about Byron Murphy Jr. and Cam Bynum and Aaron Jones. I mean, the list is very long, and you guys have probably talked about, or we're planning to talk about, the needs on both lines of scrimmage. I mean, I think we'll see in terms of Harrison Smith. I think there's obviously a chance he comes back, but if he weren't, then I mean that would create another position of need. So I mean there is no question that it's pretty interesting to get now 3 years into this regime and feel like there is a lot of sorting through that needs to happen. Now, fortunately, they do have about $60 million in cap space already, and that number could easily increase with extensions that happen, with cuts that occur, with restructures. I mean, they could really push that number up. So as opposed to a few years ago, they have available funds to spend to improve their roster. But from a draft standpoint, and I hit this every time I'm on the radio, I mean, they just have not done a good enough job or a comparative enough job to the teams that have won a ton to establish an infrastructure of young players. And so, I mean, this offseason has to be about two things for me. I mean, it's about fortifying both lines, specifically the interior of the offensive line. And then it has to be, developing and generating value out of the premium draft pick. That's just what the teams that win in this league have success doing. So, I think the competitive rebuild, I mean, they've been competitive. They've rebuilt in some aspects, specifically with the salary cap, but until the draft hits start to come, I mean, the rebuild is more of a patchwork than an entire creation of a new foundation.
So with all the things you just said, I find it interesting that Kevin O'Connell's deal has been done now for 2 weeks. Nothing on Kwesi. And I'm increasingly of the opinion that as every day goes by, I feel it's more and more likely that the Wilfs are going to let Kwesi play out the last year of his deal. Where do you land on that? And do you feel like as the days go by, it is increasingly likely that Kwesi will not get re-upped this offseason?
I'm not willing to go there. I mean, I will tell you that the day that Kevin O'Connell's extension became public, I was told at that time that the Vikings were negotiating with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah in terms of an extension for him. Now, the two things I'll say. The first is they have different agents. So Kevin O'Connell's agent works for Athletes First. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's agent is with WME. And so the idea that their extensions would happen at the same time, I mean, could that have occurred? Could they have announced it that way? Maybe, but I think with different agents and different priorities on both sides, that probably wasn't going to happen. I will tell you that the second aspect, like, would I have thought it would have been done by now? Kind of is what I would say, but I also think it's easy to, the fact that it's not, it's easy to just pin that on, I will see. I mean, for me, the most interesting aspects are, first and foremost, if it doesn't happen, that's obviously very interesting. Even if the extension does happen, I do think it's going to be very interesting to hear, and it's my job to find out. Is the length of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's extension the same as Kevin O'Connell's? And simultaneously, is there any verbiage within either contract that speaks to decision-making or final say or any of that? Those two aspects are going to be worth uncovering from my standpoint, regardless of, if an extension even happens. If it doesn't, obviously that is interesting in itself. But I've said this both on my podcast and in writing. When you have done the job that Kevin O'Connell's done as a coach, you speak to the media every day, and you're kind of the front-facing figure. There's a certain amount of leverage that comes with that. Whereas when you're Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, yes, he can point to the salary cap, and yes, he can point to generating extensions with players like Justin Jefferson and Christian Darrisaw, and yes, he could talk about kind of evolving and moving this thing from Kirk Cousins to a rookie quarterback. Those are feathers in his cap, but there's no question that if you're talking leverage, Kevin O'Connell, with kind of the position that he built, he kind of generated more than Kwesi, and a lot of that is a byproduct of the lack of draft hits, really going back to 2022.
Well, and that's where I was going to go with this too. Which one sticks out more to you? The positive nature of that measured spending spree and what he was able to do via free agency in this last offseason. You could even combine that with the move he made on the fly for Cam Robinson. Does that positively stick out to you more than the lack of effectiveness in the draft? We have cash now, Alec, but ultimately the teams, and we just watched a team win the Super Bowl with it, the lifeblood of their operation while mixing in free agents certainly is going to be through the guys they hit on in the draft. So do the good times of this free agent period stick out more, or the bad times of the draft? For me, sadly, it's the draft.
Same.
Yeah, I think it's probably the draft, but the thing I always say, and I you guys know this, I'm fascinated in the data, in the research, in studying the people who build teams the best. Howie Roseman, with what he's done in Philadelphia over the last few years, really over the last decade or whatever, it's very, very impressive. And a lot of what their success has been a byproduct of draft hits. But the thing is, it doesn't take a ton of research or study to realize that as good as Howie Roseman has been with the Eagles in the draft, there have been multiple years at which they have whiffed at the top. And so if you do a lot of research on draft success, and I know nobody wants to hear this because it's just easier to say a guy can draft or a guy can't draft, but the research will tell you that a 3-year period of success or failure in the draft does not predict the next 3 years and how it's going to go. And so that is, it's not me taking up for Kwesi. That's just the reality of how success or failure has gone within the draft. And I think when a guy struggles or succeeds for a certain period, you get blinded to the fact that he can predict players or he can't. And the reality is it's a very uncertain process. Now, the one thing with Kwesi that I do think is worth real, evaluation is trading down from 12 to 32. And the value that they got in that trade. That the value in general, specifically of a general manager whose previous jobs was to study some of this pick value. That's very tough, and that definitely warrants questions. But I do think it is important to always just think about the past and some of the research that has been done about general managers in the draft, because it's very easy to just say this guy can't make picks. But the reality is it is a very uncertain process where you're predicting the futures of 21-year-old people. It's a very hard task. The bottom line is, if you don't get it right over a certain period of time, you're not going to be here. But I think even in Howie Roseman's past, in selecting the Andre Dillards, the Jalen Ragers, the Derek Barnetts. I mean, guys that, yes, some of those guys produced at certain points, but were not the types of stars that the Jalen Carters and Lane Johnsons of the world are. Like, even the best who do this miss at times. And I'm not saying that Clayton's going to thrive over the next 3-year period, but I just think it's important to kind of note that that's kind of how the history of this stuff can go.
I'll mention this. Howie Roseman's draft since 2000, so back to 2000, he's drafted 27 players. 24 are on the team. That's,
no, look, there's no question he's done he has done a phenomenal job they've hit on their top 3-round picks, I think, over the last 3 years. But I'm going to go back to this because I did it earlier this week just because I was curious. But if you go back, excuse me, I'm trying to find it in my notes. But if you go back to a lot of these mid 2010s, Nelson Aguilar, that might have been a Chip Kelly pick in 2015, but 2014, Marcus Smith in the first round. It's not. I think it's just very easy on the outside to assume that great GMs just hit all the time. It's not the case. But even as I say that, I know the reality and the bottom line. And Charch, you and I have talked about this even off air. Like, if you don't hit over a certain period of time, that's just the bottom line. So with Quasito Fomensa, there's no question from up top, I guarantee you, it's like they are understanding that 2022 played out the way it did, and it was a putrid draft. I've been very vocal about the fact that the hits they've had in 3 years are Jordan Addison, who was heavily influenced by Kevin O'Connell and Keenan McCardell. Jalen Naylor, a 6th-round pick in 2022, has been serviceable. And then Will Riker this past year, which was heavily influenced by the special teams coaches. So, look, it's got to get better and it's got to improve. And the fact that they only have 4 picks to start thus far right now ahead of this draft is not a place you want to be in the slightest.
No. All right, let's wrap it up. And thank you for the time. We've taken a little extra time, Alex.
I'm enjoying it.
Is there one free agent who you would most like to see on the Vikings in a market deal? Are you that far ahead? And if you haven't looked at free agency, it's fine. You can just say, you know what, I haven't gone down that path yet. The Super Bowl was 5 days ago, and that is an acceptable answer right now.
No, I think the answer that I'll give you is, and I'm going to couch this by saying, if people have asked about positional, which position should they target, and I think it's got to be interior offensive line before anything else. But the player that I think, would fit the best, and you said market value, so it's an expensive market value, but right. Milton Williams of the Eagles, who had a great night, Super Bowl night, but it had a great season. I think he ranked 4th in terms of pass rush, win rate out of 119 players. And some of that may have been a byproduct of one-on-ones that he got playing next to Jalen Carter. But that guy in Brian Flores' system as a 3 technique on the front where he could generate pressure, and play the run at a really, he's a great body type that is very similar to Byron Murphy, the second from Texas, who they were interested in last year's draft. That's a guy for me. Now, again, I say that, and I know that fortifying the interior of the offensive line, that's front and center. But that guy, just for me, with this system specifically, it would fit very well. He's a young guy. He's ascending. That's just where my mind goes. Mine is cornerback DJ Reed, the highest rated slot cornerback in the league last year. He's as much of a shutdown slot cornerback as there is. Everybody talks about Sauce Gardner. DJ Reed's great. Oh, actually, come to think of it, he's not the slot guy. DJ Reed plays the outside opposite Sauce Gardner. Yeah, he plays outside. Yeah, he's phenomenal. And I will tell you this, the Viking staff, I know, has a lot of respect for him. I remember conversations after the Week 5 game in London where there was a lot of praise for him. I think that's a great selection. He's a little older. He's gotten banged up a little bit. But, if that were to be a signing, to have a cornerback like that, that would be the most mean, I know Byron Murphy Jr. had a great year, but in terms of outside cornerback, just confidence level, that would be the best outside cornerback that this team has had since I've been covering the team.
Correct. Sure. That is correct. And the state of the cornerback room right now is a disaster. So I think that's, for me, that is priority number one. But it's, and one that's solvable in free agency, maybe with DJ Reed. Thank you, Alec. It's been fun chatting. When are you back?
Of course.
When are you coming back?
I get back next week, early next week. So I'll be back and ready to go. And then we'll be in Indy at the Combine, and then things start to heat up. Free agency right after that, owners' meetings into March, and then we get to the draft. So it's the NFL knows what it's doing. They spread this stuff out perfectly, keep the conversation going. They know what they're doing. It's good business.
It is, and it makes our Friday football feast easy. Thanks, Alec.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
See you soon.
Talk to you later.
See you, man.
Alec Lewis, The Athletic, athletic.com. When we come back, has Las Vegas gone too far? Have they gotten to the point now where they're finally getting customer revolt? $20 rooms on the Strip, Super Bowl weekend. I'll talk about all the problems they're facing right now and how they've made it anti-consumer in a city that was the opposite of that for decades. It was the place to go for cheap fun. Now, not so much. We'll talk about the changing landscape of Las Vegas, Nevada, 7:02 when we come back.
And the Fan would like to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Use the keyword cash at KFAN.com. You might win $1,000. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword cash.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Nordo, hey, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Well, it's more surrounding the kids. Got the kids some stuff.
Why?
What do you mean?
Why the kids?
Well, the girls love Valentine's Day.
Okay,
it's just cool. They painted mailboxes. They're getting Valentine's from their classmates.
Yeah. So okay, I get that. But what is your role in their Valentine's Day?
I'm a passenger in most of it. So yeah, got wife a gift.
Okay,
and we'll try to carve out some time for just the two of us.
Are you a traditionalist with the gifts? Are you flowers?
I have been in the past. I'm not getting flowers this particular time, but we got some spa related bits that she'll be enjoying.
Couples spa?
I'm not really a spa guy. No, she.
Well, shouldn't your Valentine's gift be something you do together?
Yeah, as we try to carve out with an 8-month-old baby how to get out and spend any time together that isn't just a business transaction of managing the calendar. But yes, no, it's on our minds, and but spending time together in one way or another is the A topic, certainly. But the spa thing for me, that's more for her.
I just had on my phone an offer go by that maybe will interest you for you and your wife.
What is it, the Moriarty thing?
No. Well, okay. Yeah, that should be of interest to you. This is, I know a guy. This is Zantigo. You're familiar with Zantigo?
The restaurant, yes.
Yes. You can get 12 Cholitos for $25.
Okay.
What if you came home with a bouquet of Cholitos?
She might like that. I don't remember. We met in college down in Mankato. Zan's, which is, we've talked about this, effectively Zantigo, elite cheese Cholitos down in Mankato.
Yes.
I bet you even in 2025, they still have those little tin aluminum ashtrays on each table. And then they're still, for a quarter, they have those little vending machines with the football helmets and the candy in there.
Yeah,
No. I used to Zan's at a high level. She might like that. She might be into a cheese chilito.
Could
that
the
sounds
two?
like a terrific
Well,
day.
you're going to get 12. I mean, could the two of you
And then we could just
pack away 12?
We could lady in the tramp style
Oh, I like it.
the chilitos.
Yes.
Well,
Working from each side.
yes, we could eat all 12. What that would include is Molly has 2, and then I have the other 10. No, I don't know. I forget now even what the size of those things are. Like I know that back in the day I could have 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would say they're about 10 inches long, I would guess.
Okay.
And they don't have as much filling as a lot of other
Right.
things. Just all it's in it is cheese and chili. That's
Yep.
it. Cheese and chili. And it's gooey and runny and delicious. But it seems like 12 would be kind of a lot.
No, that's too much.
I think that's too much.
But maybe if she was really into Zantigo, that's not a place. And Zantigo, again, I love it, but it's not a place we've been recently. I'll keep it in the mix. Forward me that email.
Deal.
Just as a backup.
Well, we need one on the west side of town. There are no Zantigos west side of town.
If the spa bit doesn't pay off, at about 5 o'clock today, I'm going to
jump in the car.
I'm going to drive to Zantigo
I like
and get a 12er of that. Get a vase. There's no water in there. We don't want to put water in there. Do
No,
I have to get some sort of, what is that?
No, it comes in a bouquet.
It does.
Yeah, it comes in some kind of cup carrier thing, so you can present it like
like some faux greenery. I think, we've been married long enough now. I could pull something off like that.
I think you
could.
could.
Not get her too mad.
Yeah, you probably can't quite see that from here, but
No, I think that's a nice arrangement.
that's a nice arrangement right there, right? Yeah, of Chilitos from Zantigo. I like it.
It's a non-traditional, and truly it is the thought that counts, or is it not? I'm not sure.
Chilitos are pretty good. It's a good thought.
Chilitos are delicious.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
You're probably not taking her to Las Vegas,
No.
especially not with an 8-month-old.
No, she doesn't gamble.
All right, so three things crossed my timeline in the last week about Las Vegas. That all I think correlate. Number one, Super Bowl room prices down to $20 on the Strip. And while, that's not the Cosmopolitan, it's not Aria.
Right, Bellagio.
This is at the Flamingo.
Okay.
Which is, it's not the worst place in the world, and the location is perfect.
The location is the
right,
best.
Right there.
Yeah.
Everything is right there.
Low ceilings, though.
Very, very.
And I don't know what the smoking situation is there, but it smelled at times.
Yeah. The new casinos are all so much better about venting up the smoke.
But at one time, I don't know if it's changed, Flamingo had like a top 5 pool in Vegas. They redid it like 10. I mean, this got to be closer to 15 years ago.
Well,
now.
it's funny you bring it up.
The pool was elite.
They're opening their refreshed pool at the Flamingo this spring.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're redoing it again. That was the best part of the Flamingo. Well, location was the best part. Number one.
So wait a minute. They will have potentially redone their pool twice.
Yes.
Without maybe massive renovations to the interior. Is that accurate?
That's as I understand it. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hey, I'm not a business owner.
Your Flamingo positives. Number one is pool. Well, location. Number 2, pool or location. Number 3, they've got a comedy club at the Flamingo, and I've seen some good acts at the comedy club at the Flamingo. So there's that. I'm not listing Donnie and Marie, who is there. They're a lot. We're not listing them here at all. Okay. All right. Next item on Las Vegas.
So $20 for a room at the Flamingo. Gets you free access to the pool, by the way.
That's
pool.
it. Right.
Yeah.
You pay that much anyway.
It's actually not bad.
The Las Vegas Strip saw a 40% drop in net income in 2024, according to the Nevada Gaming Control Board.
40%.
40% is huge.
Wow.
In net income drop. Okay. And then lastly, a slew of executive firings that went down right after the Super Bowl and in the days before the Super Bowl. A bunch of executives from the big conglomerates that own all the casinos.
Like Caesars or MGM, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. People that have been in the business for 25 years.
What's the name of Adelson's company? Is that Sands? No.
Sands. Yeah.
Sands,
they've got the Sands properties, the Las Vegas Sands.
So there is truly like 5 people that own Vegas.
Well, I think it's a lot of corporate entities.
But yes, but 4 or 5
that own most. Yes.
Bits
yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, all right. So what are the problems with Vegas right now? Well, it's many. Number one, flight prices are high because gas prices remain high.
Yeah.
We're still at the gas prices. We're still at the gas prices that are roughly double what they were 4 years ago. Hotel prices normally high. They were cheap for this weekend, which was weird. But the last several times I've tried to go to Las Vegas, I was looking at an ordinary room for $280 a night.
Yep.
That's a big loss for just somewhere to sleep in a standard room.
Correct. Never been higher, by the way.
Food prices are really high in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Chipotle burrito. My brother sent me a photo of his Chipotle burrito and a drink that he bought on the Strip.
He got double meat, didn't he?
$23.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You have to pay to park.
Yep.
So all the parking, one of them did it. I don't remember who did it first. It might have been MGM. The first one to mandate paid parking, now it's everywhere.
Yeah. And everyone was just waiting for somebody to do it. Mm-hmm. Almost like, can you ask for permission and then the rest of us can?
And they all jumped in.
Yeah.
All jumped in. Terrible. Next. The MGM removed all the water fountains and replaced them with water vending machines.
So I can't even get free water.
Can't even get free water. So, I mean, look at all the anti-consumer things that make it hard to go to Vegas. And we're not even gambling yet. Right? I mean, this is just for me to go there, stay there, and drink water.
Right. And when you haven't even, again, from a gambling standpoint, whether it's the tables on the Strip that are you can't find $5 blackjack anywhere.
That's coming
to
up next.
In.
Yes.
It's 25 and up across the board. Craps is expensive. The days of the penny slots, those are shrinking. Those sorts of things.
Let's talk it through.
Okay.
So the high table minimums are a huge thing now. And even for the games like craps that are designed for you to have multiple bets on the table. Like in craps, the system that I like to use,
Right.
I got my pass line bet, I got the odds behind the pass line bet.
Maybe buy a couple numbers.
Buy a couple of numbers, right? Maybe I want the come line. At $25 minimums,
right?
I get $200 on the table in a blink of an eye.
Yep.
That is rough. Then there's these odds changes.
Yep.
Roulette. Already a game with a massive house advantage. They've added the third green space. Come on.
Yeah.
No, there's no need to do that to that game. Then blackjack now pays 6-5, not 3-2.
You're
3-2
serious.
my whole life. Now pays 6-5. And lastly, and this one wounds me deeply, my beloved Pai Gow. I love Pai Gow.
You've mentioned it many times.
I love to put Pai Gow and craps are my two favorite games. And they're both kind of cooperative games. It's kind of everybody against the house. I like the vibe. I like everybody's cheering together. Pai Gow, some places now require you to make that horrible bonus bet. You know how you'll have your bet, and then they got the spot, and blackjack has it too. The spot above the bet.
I've never played Pai Gow.
Yeah.
I never do the bonus bets on blackjack and some of those other ones.
Because?
Because it's a loser's. I mean, I'm just giving money away.
Absolutely. You're giving money away.
And the one guy hits the flush for $100 and then everyone jumps on it.
That's right.
Just stay away.
Just stay away. The reason that bet is out there is not for the house to lose money. It's
ain't
for you to
charity.
lose money. Pai Gow in places now requiring you to make the horrible odds bonus bet. And I think there are many people, including me, that are just beat down by these practices. I used to go 4 times a year. I'm down to 1, 2. I'll go once for work, maybe once for pleasure. Right. I've cut way back on Vegas, and it's entirely because of these things.
No,
I don't think I'm alone.
No, I'm absolutely out on it. The one thing, and I mean, I like to go and I gamble, and I'm not opposed. I'll play $25 a hand in blackjack, but that's more something that I've noticed. Craps for me in particular, that's something where I'm looking for a $5 or a $10 table. So the gambling elevation has been something that's hit me the most.
Yeah.
But the side note to that is I still picture like the days of, there was a buffet on every corner, and we're not talking about like Manny's quality food here, but you are talking about options, right?
Yes.
And there are no options for the average person. It is truly like there is this, it feels like they're trying to create this environment of the grand cosplay of elegance and superiority and just the high money end where we can all feel like high rollers when we're in the 702. Well, I'm not interested in pulling out the credit card when I'm in the 702. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to pay $8 for a freaking bottle of water, right? Or, I can grab I get a couple of free drink tickets when I run a parlay at the sports book. Like I'm still a person. It's like, I'm going to dump my cash on the gambling side of things. I'm going to pay for some nice dinners, certainly. But if I want to grab a sandwich or a freaking burrito bowl, I don't want to pay $25 for that. I don't want to have to pay to park. You're going to get all my cash anyway. On the felt. Yeah. Like just let me walk in feeling like I'm whole. Right. And then take it all away from me. Give me a shot. And they don't anymore. It's super expensive. The hotel rooms, as you mentioned, I feel for the most part, even the standard room, whatever that standard is actually decreasing in cleanliness and quality in totality, but the price keeps going up. Mm-hmm. That's not evolving in the correct direction for me. Yeah, I'm, and I don't ever have to go for work, so I don't go. And I went for the Vikings game there last year. Yeah. But other than that, I have no interest in going to Vegas. I can sports bet. I can find avenues, not in our state. Yeah. Because our state's ridiculous. But in other states, I think it's dead. And I can find ways to potentially wager on a game without having to go to Vegas. So the only reason I would go is to get away and have beers with the boys and hang out in the pool and all of that. But if that is so expensive to the point where I'm pondering just going up to a cabin, Cross Lake, will cost me a fraction of what going to Vegas. And at my age, I'm going to choose Cross Lake every time, which is sweet, by the way. Moonlight Bay and the Wharf and Zorba's. I'll choose that 100 times out of 100.
Let's turn this into a little listener feedback. What do you think?
Well, I would, and first of all, we got some text messages, and that's sweet. Yeah. But when we break, we will have about 90 seconds left in the show, Charch.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Well, all right. People have text, and you can text a message in. We'll try to get to one or two when we come back. Final segment, Friday Football Feast. When we
step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now you wanna get mixed up in the family business?
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, I got a couple of texts for you here as we have about 2 minutes, Charch. I have this. Somebody mentioned the weed smell in Las Vegas.
It's pervasive.
It's awful. And you get that in other cities as well. And I can't stand it personally.
I don't like it.
The funk is terrible. But that wouldn't preclude me from going to Las Vegas.
No, I would not go because there's going to be a lot of weed smell. But I don't. Even the people who smoke it don't like the smell, I think, for the most part. Or maybe I just don't know enough really habitual weed smokers that they, I imagine eventually it rewires your brain to the point that you get that skunky smell is good to you because you know what's coming and you're going to enjoy it.
I got this text. I've gone to Vegas for the World Series of Poker last 18 years, play 1 to 2 smaller events and cash games. Seriously considering not going this year based on the ridiculous prices of things there now. Everything you guys just mentioned, so annoying. I'll take a weekend up north at the cabin anytime over Vegas. Hell yeah. Everybody go to the Whitefish chain. That's what I'm saying. Go to golf. Let's do it. Cabin culture, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of the co-signing. My buddy, I think Circa is probably like the
Circa's special.
Might be the best deal in town right now. I got another buddy laying out. He's basically itemizing his receipt. He found some off-strip bit where it's $2,500 for a full week. He's got like 4 different families.
Yeah.
It's like going to the ABC stores and stocking up on the water and things like that.
That is one of the hacks, is going to the drug stores and getting the supplies you need.
But I think in the idea, he's going there, obviously, that's a family occasion. But the idea of like a guy's weekend, a gal's weekend, et cetera, you're not going there to cook your own food, right? You're going there to gamble, and, go see shows, go to the clubs, whatever it is you want to do in Vegas. And the exponential increase of that cost is undeniable and really untenable for the majority of Americans.
And it's not like the service is better or the product is better. And I mean, I guess you could say, now there are Michelin 4-star restaurants in Las Vegas. So you can go there and that is better.
Yeah.
The shows are better than they were 30 years ago. But you pay for all of that. Just in totality, though, if you're there to play craps, that game hasn't changed very much. It's just a lot more expensive.
Yeah, PST, people who smoke weed don't even like the smell. No, Charch, they like the smell. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, I'm a little out of my depth on this.
They're in on the smell.
Is there somebody from the committee nearby that can track this one? Have a great day, everybody.
Today,
Dan Cole coming up next. Thanks, Nords. Bye-bye.
Today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to upgrade your entertainment experience? Vizio TVs make streaming easy with convenient access to all your favorite apps. Enjoy top hits from the iHeartRadio app or watch over 300 free live channels of news, sports, and more on Watch Free Plus. And now, take free TV and movies on the go with Watch Free Plus in the Vizio mobile app. Available anytime, anywhere, for everyone. Download the Vizio mobile app now or visit Vizio.com/iHeartRadio to learn more.